Most developers think hitting a 429 error means they have exceeded their quota. That's often not true. If you don't understand TPM, RPM, and quotas, you'll keep running into rate limits no matter which LLM provider you use. In the next few minutes, I'll explain these concepts in a way that is simple, practical, and easy to remember, so you know what's happening behind the scenes. In this video, you'll learn exactly what TPM, RPM, and quotas are and how they work across Azure OpenAI, Anthropic Claude, and Google Gemini. Why they matter for every LLM application and how understanding them helps you avoid unnecessary rate limit errors as you build AI applications. And stay until the end because I'll also explain one of the biggest misconceptions about LLM rate limits, a mistake that causes countless developers to waste hours debugging perfectly good code. Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Calm Engineer, and if you're passionate about your growth in AI, generative AI, and LLMs, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Calm Engineer, so that you can stay up to date. And this video is part of the series which is designed to help you master these concepts from the ground up. Let's get started. The first thing we'll go over is what are the rate limit triggers, right? As this image is showing, so rate limit 429 errors triggers. So it can be exceeded TPM. That means if there were too many tokens per minute, so it can also throw 429 error. If you exceeded RPM, too many requests per minute, it will throw 429. If there are too many concurrent requests, too many requests at the same time, 429. Large prompts consumes more tokens, so you'll hit the TPM rate limit 429. Lots of tiny requests, you can hit RPM limit, so more requests per minute because of that, so that can cause rate limit. Many parallel users can you can hit concurrency rate limits, so more parallel usage, so you can hit 429 triggers. So these are the possible reasons that you can get 429. That means too many requests, errors. So these are the possible triggers. But I know, don't worry, we'll go over all of these one by one in detail so that you understand what is TPM, what is RPM, what is concurrency request, how all of these impacts rate limits, what are actually rate limits. So we'll go over it soon. Okay. So before going over the definitions for all those triggers and the basics required for understanding rate limits, let's go over one production environment incident. So this is an example I'm gonna show you where you'll see there's a retry storm causing thousands of 429 errors due to TPM RPM rate limits. So the use case is that user submits the AI request. Obviously you have some API service, then you have some retry handler, and then you have Azure. I'm taking example of Azure OpenAI deployment. There can be any LLM provider here. It can be Claude or Gemini or OpenAI or anything, right? It's just LLM provider. What happens? It generates the request. So let's say, the prompt tokens, which means your system prompt, user prompt, all those other things. I have made a video about prompt tokens and completion tokens if you want to understand how to calculate the number of tokens, right? And what are tokens. I have given the link in the description as well, and I'll also show the video link on the screen as well. You can go check out that for more details. All right, so let's say there were 3,000 tokens in the prompt token and 2,000 in the completion token. So request one went there, and for your OpenAI deployment, let's say you have your TPM limit of 100,000 tokens per minute. TPM stands for token per minute and RPM stands for request per minute. So current usage already, in that minute, 98,500 tokens have been consumed because there can be thousands and, of users using this AI. So remaining tokens are 1,500. So because of that, because your prompt token was 3,000 tokens and remaining TPM limit was 1,500, you'll get HTTP 429, right? TPM limit exceeded. So then some in production, they immediately retry. Oh, I have exceeded 429. Oh, a rate limit. Let me retry again. So they have their retry handler where they can have incorrect logic where they're immediately retrying with the same prompt, so 3000 tokens again, let's say if it was even 5000, or I'm giving example here, whatever tokens, so they keep on retrying. So TPM is still exceeded in that minute, so they keep on retrying again and again, right? And let's say they were having attempts, 3 retry attempts or 5 retry attempts, and then you'll get final response. So because of that, so problem here is you are doing immediate retries. So when you will open the metrics of OpenAI, you can get alerts showing, oh, there are thousands of alerts, there are thousands of rate limits that happened for 12, but in actual there was only one request, but you have bottlenecked, you have throttled this API that even other users cannot use that available limit. So each retry, also you're adding cost to it, because each retry is consuming the, if you're using cloud, right, cloud resources, AI resources, you have to pay for that. You have increased the traffic, and also it's not allowing it to reset the TPM as well. So as a result, there are thousands of 429 errors, which is a hazard. It's called retry storm situations. So now if you want to solve these kind of situation, right, in production environment, so don't worry, we'll go over, you have to, all these concepts, you have to understand what is actually TPM, what is RPM, what's the right design, what's the best practice to solve it. So let's go over first to understand the problem. If you don't understand what is TPM, there are different quotas as well. You can just, hit, oh, let's increase quota, but that will not solve the problem. Oh, let's increase TPM, that will not. RPM, no. You have to understand the definitions first to solve it, right? So let's go over the definitions. So what is TPM? TPM rate limits are based on the maximum number of tokens that are estimated to be processed by a request at the time the request is received. It isn't the same as token count used for billing, which is computed after all processing is completed. So what does this imply? TPM limit is estimated by prompt, text, and count, max tokens parameter. Uh, Setting, which is generally in the API, and different, I'll also go over that different providers, they have different APIs, and there can be a different parameter where we set up what are the max tokens allowed in combination of input and output tokens, and best of parameter setting. So there are different parameters. Don't worry, I'll go over those parameters, that how they impact TPM. So this is logical, since the API needs to anticipate the total tokens of request prior to execution, but as it can't predict the completion length, it uses the max token, some parameter that you have provided by the user. Or the best of acts as a multiplier if the user asks for additional completions. So once the token limit based on those estimations is hit within a minute, the API starts returning 429. So the TPM, I think, so you understand, is if you are sending system prompt and user prompt and some drag document, let's say, or some other thing, so it'll calculate what are the input tokens for that, what are the prompt tokens, right, for that. And but you'll say, okay, in my output I have just used remaining 5 tokens, but when you're calling the API, right, you're saying, okay, give me some summary, for example, but in the API you have mentioned max tokens as 1500 tokens, so it can sometimes generate summary within using 100 tokens, sometime between using 1500 max tokens that you have provided in the API. But when it's calculating TPM, because it is calculating prior to processing it, so it does not know how many tokens will be generated in the output, so it's using that max token that you have sent. So even though they'll not be perhaps used, so you have to be very considerate when you're choosing these max tokens assigned as well. All right, so now let's see what is RPM. RPM rate limits are based on the number of requests received over time. The rate limit expects that requests be evenly distributed over a 1 minute period. To implement this behavior, Azure OpenAI service evaluates the rate of incoming requests over a small period of time, typically 1 or 10 seconds. So consider an example where we have 1000 TPMs, which equates to 6 RPM, right? Because there are 60 seconds in a minute, right? So therefore it's saying this implies we should have one request in a 10-second window. If another request is sent within this 10-second window, a 429 error should be received. So they work in combination. So TPM is tokens per minute, whereas RPM is requests received per minute. So in a minute, it actually evaluates in the time of, because one request can take 1 second to 10 seconds. So it evaluates like that. 1 minute is 60 seconds. So 10 seconds for one request. So it's just 6 requests at a time. So if you get more requests, even you have not reached TPM, it can throw 429 errors. So I'll show you how you can test in while you're working with these APIs, the TPM test case, how you can test TPM rate limit and how you can test RPM rate limit. Okay, so what you can do to do these rate limit tests while you're building your AI agents. So we'll use a basic script for calling Azure OpenAI as an example I'm using. Keep the max tokens at 1. So now your TPM will not be hit because your TPM is calculated on the basis of max token. And let's say your prompt is also just less than 20 tokens, but your TPM limit is high, let's say 1500 or something. So when you call the request, you will see the graph like this. So blocked call, they are still blocked calls. And the successful calls are only around 6 as we showed, because it's though you can see TPM is available, you'll say, oh, I'm using just max token 1, and I'm also you'll say prompt is 20, but I'm having 100,000 tokens available because my TPM rate limit is 100,000 tokens. Then how come I'm still getting so many rate limit exceptions and only 6 requests have passed? Because this is because of requests per minute. In 10 seconds, you are just allowing one request. So you have to also adjust it. And how to adjust this and optimize this, we'll go over the those best practices in this series as well. So now, how do you do your TPM rate limit test? Okay, so you can repeat the same process, but you have to now aim to try to breach TPM limit. So you can say max token you can assign to 1000, and your let's say your TPM is also 1000. Let's say. So what you'll do, you'll try to send request, and you'll see, because your one request is also using TP 1000, and let's say your assigned TPM is 500, whatever number of requests, you'll say, oh, I haven't even sent why my 6 requests are not even passing, right? Now only 0 are passing because this time you have exceeded TPM rate limit. So this is how you can do testing of the rate limits. There are matrices available in whatever AI provider you are using, Claude or OpenAI or Gemini or any other. They provide the APIs, and you can analyze that. Okay, so that I hope so you're clear about the definitions and how to do these rate limit tests. Okay, now I'll show you some examples. Where in production environment. So what is a case where you will, requests are within TPM and RPM rate limit, no error. So user is asking question, it prompt and max output 1000, 500, 1500 tokens, and your TPM is higher than the 1500 tokens. You have just sent, let's say, request, response is 800 tokens. So there is no error because you are hitting the number of requests, and RPM and TPM is less than the assigned rate limit. So it will be a success. That's a positive test case. But the negative test case can be there are hundreds of requests, right? In real-time production traffic, there can be hundreds of requests, and your let's say your request is having, you are having a loop, and you're again, for every incoming request, you're sending prompt and completion tokens here to your OpenAI LLM provider. Your TPM budget, let's say, is 240K. I'm just taking an example, right? Tokens per minute is assigned, that's your budget, and your current usage, when you are getting hundreds and thousands of requests earlier, it's keep on increasing within that minute. So once it 45 to all these numbers, and once it reaches your TPM, and then it got exceeded. So until it has not reached, it's okay. Some of your responses will be success, and some of your, once it exceeded, you'll get you'll start getting 429 errors. So this is the real production traffic scenario causing rate limit exceptions. So now we have gone over the definitions of TPM, RPM. We have seen real-time production traffic examples as well. Now we'll understand quotas. What are quotas? So quota refers to your total allowed usage. Depending on how your account is configured, this could be available prepaid credits, monthly spending limit, or your organization budget or your project budget. On the basis of that, you have maximum assigned quota rate limit, right? So that's called quota. So what's the difference? Oh, you say, oh, that's also rate limit. No, there's a difference. So purpose of rate limit is it controls how fast you can make the request within a minute, let's say, right? But quota is how much you can use overall, whether it's a minute or it can be per day or per month. You have to check how your organization has set, right? How much at maximum your AI agent can consume per day. Some organizations have per day, some have per minute, some have per hour or something like that. You have to check, right? Or in total, even they have that limit. Your project in total, right? How much it can spend. So time window is short term, like per minute, per second for rate limits. But for quota, they are longer term, like daily, monthly, or account balance. What it limits? Rate limit limits your number of requests, number of tokens or images or audio or whatever you are, using your per unit time. So that's rate limit. And quota is for total usage or spending for your particular project or for your particular organization. So for rate limit, you'll also get 429 too many requests, rate limit exceeded error. And for quota, you can also get 429, or you can get your billing or quota error, such as you exceeded your current quota. Even this error you can get. So now you can see how to understand this. So let's say you're driving a car is your AI agent. So rate limit is maximum speed for that road at that, it is per hour. Let's say the speed limit for that road is 60 miles per hour. So that's the maximum speed. But if you exceed that, you'll get a speeding ticket. So that's 429 error. So, but quota is amount of fuel in the tank. So if you will also not have enough fuel to drive a car, you will still get error and you will not be able to drive the car at all. So that's how, for this, you can control your speed again in the next hour, right? So that's how rate limit and quotas are related. All right. In this short video, we understood TPM, RPM, rate limits, and quotas in general for LLMs. But in the next video, I'll go over the concepts with respect to APIs and parameters for these LLM providers, OpenAI, Azure OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini. And then in the video after that, I'll go over the best practices and the best design patterns to fix these 429 rate limit errors that you can directly implement in your enterprise level AI systems and your AI projects. Please don't forget to hit subscribe button on my YouTube channel, The Calm Engineer, so that you can stay up to date. And if this video helped you, please hit like button and comment Calm Engineer for the AI in the comment section if you want links to other videos related to this series and the documentation that can help you learn more about LLMs and Gen AI. FYI, this video is part of the series The Complete Guide to LLM Rate Limits, where I have break down each of these concepts step by step, from tokens, prompt completion tokens and context windows, to TPM, RPM, deployment quotas, regional quotas, concurrency limits, and finally, how to fix and prevent 429 rate limit errors. What are the best practices and design patterns to fix these in real-time enterprise level systems? By the end of this series, you'll understand exactly how LLM rate limits work across different LLM providers like Azure OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude, Google Gemini, and others as well. As the base concept related to rate limits across different LLM providers remain the same. I have added the link to the series in the video description. Go check out my video description for more videos. Thank you.